Good evening. The time is 6 o'clock. Welcome to the 150th Diabetes Chai Chat. So it's quite a milestone for all of us involved in this program. It's entitled Managing and Reversing Lifestyle Diabetes and Diseases Using Holistic Approaches. I hope that everyone has got their chai and that we are welcoming also, apart from our guest speaker, Dr. Hina Trivedi, who is a diabetes specialist at Leicester CCG, and our partner doctor in Bangladesh, who is Dr. Ishan Rahat. We are going to Mumbai, so it's quite late in Mumbai at the moment, but we are very pleased to welcome our guest speaker today, Dr. Rashmi Menon, who is, apart from being a doctor, a recognized and celebrated lifestyle disease reversal expert. She has been specializing in homeopathy, psychotherapy, and other areas of that kind. She is certified in advanced yoga from the Yoga Institute. She trained many doctors, nutritionists, and health experts, and she coaches in a holistic way, concentrating on the healing effects of plants. Dr. Rashmi has successfully helped many people to reverse their diabetes, and this is one of the reasons why we've got them on here, got her on here today. I hope that her contribution will help us all understand how we can take control of our lifestyle. Dr. Menon, thank you so much for joining us. We would be delighted if you'd speak for about 15 minutes, and then we'll have a few minutes of questions. Thank you for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Keith, for that wonderful introduction. And I'm glad that I could be here today, although it's quite late over here, and I did not know that this much of a time difference is going to be. So a little bit of a backstory. I come from a family of huge meat eaters. And in my 30s, I used to suffer from various lifestyle diseases. One of them was osteomalacia, which is softening of the bones. And my bone softening was recognized in my hip region. I was also suffering from endometriosis, asthma, depression. So during that phase, when I was really suffering, I was introduced to the idea that meat and dairy is harmful to the animals. And somehow it got into my head. And in spite of my better sense as a doctor, I thought, okay, I have bone density disorder. And if I stop eating dairy, I would actually have to go for the hip replacement surgery, which my doctor friends have been threatening me with. But I decided to give it a try anyways. And in the 1 month that I was free of all kinds of animal products, I realized that my hip pain was completely gone. And when I went for a DEXA scan, the bone density had started becoming better. So that got me interested in how is this possible. Through my life, I had heard and studied that milk especially was required for calcium. And here I'm having a completely different experience. So I went ahead and did my courses in whole food plant-based nutrition. Meanwhile, I was also taking counseling for my own self. And I was benefiting from it. So I wanted my patients to benefit as well. So I went ahead and did my psychotherapy diploma as well. So that is how I got onto this path of healing lifestyle diseases. And why lifestyle diseases? Because yes, I was also suffering from it. And over time, I got rid of my asthma. I got rid of the pain from endometriosis. And I also have a family history of diabetes as well as hypertension. I'm nearing my 50s, while my parents developed their symptoms long before they reach 50. And I don't see any sign or symptom of it coming anywhere near me. And I believe it is because of the shifts that I have made in my lifestyle. And that is what I help my patients with as well. Many patients who come to me, even if it is for homeopathy, they come with their list of medicines and the belief that they will need to take these medicines for life. And I always thought that if they are suffering from a lifestyle disease, how come they will have to take this external medicine for life? Even if I'm giving them homeopathy, it is still an external medicine. And a lifestyle disease, the name itself means that it is caused by the lifestyle disorders or imbalances. And how can medicine be the solution for it? And when I walked on this path, I started realizing more and more that not only can these diseases be prevented, but many of my patients also started reversing their diseases. So that is where I am today. And I feel that whatever I'm sharing, some of you may already know some of it. Some of what I'm saying may resonate with some of you. Some of you will feel that, no, this doesn't work for me. And that is all okay, because this was completely new to me too a few years back. And I believe that every individual is unique and their way of healing is unique. So if whatever I say resonates with you, do try it out, even if it is just for a month, and see how it works. Just a little bit of caution that especially when you have diabetes and when you start shifting your lifestyle, the blood sugar levels can go low. And hypoglycemia is more dangerous than a day or two of hyperglycemia. So just be a bit aware of that and keep check of your blood sugar levels, and always do this change with the assistance of your medical professional. Otherwise, this can get dangerous. Okay, so coming to lifestyle shifts that I aid my patients with, we work on two spheres. One is the physical sphere and one is the mental sphere or the mind space. Mind and the body are so connected that it cannot really be disconnected. However, the physical space is where we seem to have more control because it is external, while the mind is a little bit all boggly with the thoughts and stuff, and it's a little bit more difficult. So let's talk about the physical space first. I'm sure you have had talks with my colleagues, Ramesh Hirani, Nandini Gulati, and I'm sure you know that one of the powerful tools to heal diabetes especially is going on a whole food plant-based diet. When we say whole food plant-based diet, it basically means not eating any kind of animal products. And whatever plant products we are eating, we eat it as wholesome as possible, as close to nature as possible. And in the PDF that I have requested Silver Star to share with you all has details of all the works, all the research that has been done in the space of whole food plant-based nutrition, and its effect in preventing, managing, and reversing lifestyle disease. So when we talk about whole food plant-based diet, especially when it comes to diabetes, what is very funny is that we are always told to be careful of sugar. Yes, sugar, when you eat, it will increase your blood sugar. But what we have found, according to the research that has been done, is that fat is one of the primary causes of diabetes. Now, this is something that all of us find it difficult to assimilate. In fact, one of my patients, who is a famous doctor from Mumbai, they found it very difficult to wrap their head around it. So they would follow all my instructions, but they would not be going the whole zero oil path. And whenever we have a talk, they will be like, I'm eating just a little bit of oil. Now, the little is not measurable. So my little may be half a teaspoon, and your little can be 1 tablespoon. So that is why their levels were not really shaking so much. They were not coming down as much as it was expected if they were going completely whole food plant-based. And then they happened to join a retreat, one of our retreats. And during our retreats, we serve completely 100% whole food plant-based. That means zero oil at all, zero sugar. And then that's when we started seeing a change in their blood sugar. Their blood sugar started going down, and we were able to wean a little bit of their blood sugar medicines. And their blood pressure was also doing tremendously well during the entire period. Yet we have the conditioning. So they started attributing it to the yoga that we do during the retreat, the treks that we do during the retreat, and also to the mind work, emotional work that we do. Now, this person was someone who has been doing a lot of the same work before too, but the blood sugar was not shifting. And slowly they started experimenting with zero oil food, and that's when we started seeing tremendous results. So this just goes to show this is just one of the multiple examples we have in our clinical practice, where going on a whole food plant-based diet really, really brings down the blood sugar levels. So how do we go on this diet? First of all, starts with simple steps. Stop all kinds of animal products. Start eating a lot of seasonal fruits. Yes, if you're eating low fat or zero fat, then the fruits are fine. The fructose, the body is able to assimilate it, take it into the muscle cells. But if you are eating your regular diet and you eat a lot of high sugar fruits, then your blood sugar will increase. So on a whole food plant-based diet, it is okay to eat plenty of fruits. The second thing what you can do is start eating a load of raw salad before your lunch. Eat a load of raw salad before your dinner. Simple. And then continue with whatever you're eating. Try to reduce your oil as much as you can. Then what you can do is, instead of eating your regular snacks, start eating dried fruits or seeds or nuts. And then take your time to eat. Relish your food. Let your body give the signal of when you're ready to stop eating. That itself, if you are able to do, you will see a huge change happening inside your body. So this is about the food part. The second part, when it comes to the physical sphere, is exercise. We do know that we need to do exercise, maybe 30 minutes of walking or running or whatever. But if you're used to doing a particular exercise for, say, months on end, your body gets used to it. So only a few muscles are being exercised. The body just adjusts itself. So if you're used to, say, walking half an hour every day, particular muscles of your legs are only going to be used. So over time, it starts getting less and less effective. So the best way to turn it around is, if you do a particular exercise for 1 month, turn it around, do another set of exercise. High intensity exercises, anti-gravity exercises like walking upstairs or bouncing on a trampoline or skipping. These work very well. In fact, even if you have mild knee problems, very mild knee problems, you can still very slowly start walking upstairs, but ensure that you're not walking downstairs. When you walk downstairs is when you start injuring the knee. Exercise actually helps the blood sugar to go into your muscle cells, and that's why the blood sugar in the bloodstream remains normal. However, if you're not eating a good diet and you're going on just doing exercise, you will not see the benefit as much as it would if you are on a whole food plant-based diet. And you can also work around your exercise, like park your car a few meters away from where you're supposed to go, play with your kids, or take your grandkids, take the pram and go walking with your grandkids. Ensure that you're not sitting for more than 1 hour. Just get up and walk around. All these little changes go a long way in preventing as well as reversing your disease. The next important thing, which right now I'm not doing, is sleep. I tend to practice what I preach. So I ensure that I sleep at a particular time and I wake up at a particular time. So sleep is very, very important. Sleep is the time when your body starts healing. And if we are exposed to bright light as we sleep, then our body clock is resetting. And then we start getting stressed out by little stuff. And stress by itself can increase your disease and even create more disease. So some of the tips for getting a good night's sleep is ensuring that you go out into the sun during the daytime so that your circadian rhythm is set. Remove all the bright light exposure, especially white light. Ensure that the curtains are drawn and there's a dark space. Keep away all your gadgets. No gadgets should be there in the bedroom. And no indulgence in alcohol, coffee, or tea, or tobacco. This will also increase your ability to have a good night's rest. The next thing when it comes to your physical body is having a nature connection. We are so disconnected from nature, and I am a believer in the healing power of nature. The more we go towards nature, the way nature intended us to be, the more healing our body gets. And what is the best way to connect with nature other than just go out there into the nature? So we can always ground ourselves, walk barefoot on clean grass, go out into the nature, sit under a tree, spend some time with nature. You can even go for cleanup processes wherein we can help to clean up a particular area in our free time. Even that connects us deeply with nature. If not, just have some plants around so that you're connected with nature every minute, whenever you can. This makes a huge difference in how you look at your life. If another way to connect with nature is to go on nature retreats. Healing nature retreats. We are going out on vacations, and then when we come back, we need another vacation to heal from our vacation. How about spending vacation in nature? That by itself creates great healing. The next part of the physical healing space is sunlight. Every life on earth is created by the sunlight. And here we are sitting closed in our AC rooms, totally disconnected from the sun. How can we remedy it? We can just start by sitting 5 minutes in the sun and ensure that maximum of our skin is exposed to the sun. If that is not possible, have light, natural fabrics like cotton so that the skin will be in touch with the sunlight. Also remember that we are looking at the sunlight and not the heat. So don't get overheated in the sun, and slowly build up your time up to 30 minutes. Do not go over 30 minutes. Vitamin D is very important for pancreatic health. And the sunlight also benefits various other diseases. Your skin starts glowing, your blood circulation increases, and it also helps you to detox. And it is available for free. Now, the next one is our bad habits. Like we spend a lot of time in front of TV, and some of us are addicted, whether it is food, whether it is tea, whether it is coffee. I'm sorry, we are talking at chai time, but the bad news for you is that chai itself is harming you. That is one habit we might want to give up. Instead of your regular tea, you can always have your herbal teas, which are just basically herbal infusions that rejuvenate you without harming you. Any kind of addiction keeps you in the loop, and your body doesn't get the space to heal. So how can we take care of the addiction? First of all, recognize that this is an addiction, whether it is food, whether it is TV, whether it is coffee, whether it is tea. And take small steps. Do not try to give it up right away. Take small steps towards reaching the goal of completely giving it away. Of course, there's thousands of books written on it. You can search the internet and you'll find a lot of stuff on how to take care of your addictions. But the first step is recognizing this is an addiction. And now we come to the mind space, because we have so much short time and just flowing through the process. Now, according to me, the mind and the body are not disconnected. They are not two different parts. They are interconnected. If your body is suffering, the mind suffers. If your mind is suffering, the body has to show the effect of it. That is why we sometimes get into a loop. If we feel distressed out about anything, our body, or especially our stomach, can go into a rumble, can have problems. And because the stomach or the body is in trouble, our mind starts getting stressed even more, and it becomes a vicious cycle. And today's time and age, we are overburdening our mind and doing not much with the physical muscular body. because of which it is very easy for us to manifest some kind of mind symptoms. In fact, research has shown that many diseases can be either emulate from the mind or can be worsened by mind symptoms or imbalances of the mind. Inflammation, immune system is one of the first things that get affected when we are under great stress. So acknowledging the mind part of it, because we all like to acknowledge the body pain, but what about the mind pain? We live in a world which is highly stressful. So it's high time that we acknowledge that the mind is as important as the body. In fact, when it comes to mind issues, heart disease, psoriasis, migraines, irritable bowel, allergy, diabetes are all found to have a mind imbalance behind it, majorly depression, anxiety, and stress. One of the other things that has been coming up most often in my consultations is childhood trauma. In fact, there has been research that has been done by the California Institute, San Francisco, which says that when some people have had adverse childhood experiences, they are 1.4 times more likely to develop diabetes. A very similar scale is there for stroke, cancer, heart disease. So
thank you very much,
feel,
Dr. Menon. Could I ask you just if you could wind up? That would be really helpful because we've got a lot of questions that are coming your way.
Yes.
As soon as you finish, we're going to go straight to Lester to get some questions. But sorry to interrupt, but it's fascinating what you're saying. But if you could wind up in the next 2 minutes or 3.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, 2 minutes. Yeah.
Super.
Okay.
Thank you.
How do we deal with the mind symptoms? We don't have to go deep into it. If we are suffering from deep trauma, always take the help of a trauma-informed therapist. There is no harm in approaching a trauma-informed therapist, especially when we are not able to handle it on our own. But as it is, on our own, what can we do? We can look at positive experiences. We can focus on positive traits that we already have, like gratitude, resilience, compassion. And we can keep the company of people who are inspiring. So what can we do? We can acknowledge that our thoughts, whether they are positive or negative, just acknowledge them without judgment. And also learn to manage your daily stress. Incorporate exercises which are mind-body exercises like Tai Chi, yoga, Qigong. One excellent exercise which really helps my patients is practicing gratitude journaling. So every day, pick up a journal and write down things that you're grateful for that happened to you today in this particular day. That can shift the way you look at life and shift your stress levels. And one last advice is that nowadays detox is very famous. Everyone wants to do detox. But if we are not putting toxins inside our body, do we really need a detox? If you're not putting toxic thoughts inside our mind, do we really need a detox? But still, we can keep one day where we are resting rather than calling it detox. It can be a rest day. One day in a week or one day in 2 weeks where we are completely resting, eating very, very light food, maybe eating only fruits for one day and taking rest completely. So this goes a long way in your body to rejuvenate. The less junk is accumulated in your body, the less the body has to struggle with it and create a disease, which we then identify as a lifestyle disease. So that is in short, whatever I had to say. I hope you get the PDF and you'll find more links and more data on whatever I have shared.
Thank you very much, Dr. Menon. We're really grateful for that presentation. We're just going to quickly go for some questions. We've been submitted some questions, and then we will go to the participants who have also forwarded some questions. Some quick questions. One from Meena saying, is it possible to reverse diabetes permanently?
If it is type 2 diabetes and the patient is very diligent with the whole food plant-based diet, it is reversible. But if it is type 1 diabetes, it is not reversible. But the insulin levels can go down.
Great, thank you. And as you said on that, the next question is, it's from Saima, and the question is, what is the holistic approach to type 1 diabetes?
Yes. In type 1 diabetes, unfortunately, the pancreas is not really functioning. Maybe it is some of the cells have been destroyed. So that's why we don't look at it as reversible. But when we do follow the holistic approach, the other symptoms that come along with diabetes, like most diabetes people tend to end up having nervous disorders, nervous system disorders. They tend to end up having cholesterol and heart disorders. At least we can ensure that that doesn't happen. And the level of insulin can go down over time.
Great, thank you. We've got one or two more questions. If anyone wants to ask a question, just raise your hand and we'll put that to Dr. Menon. We've got a question from Mr. Shah, and he's saying, what is the holistic approach to high blood pressure?
Basically, your body is not differentiated into diabetes and high blood pressure. When you shift your lifestyle, when you make corrections to your lifestyle, whatever disorder is created because of the faulty lifestyle starts rectifying itself. So whether it is autoimmune disease or blood pressure or diabetes, it will all rectify itself because the body doesn't identify it as different.
Great, thank you for that. And one more question we've got is, does reducing diabetes medicine also amount to diabetes reversal?
Yes, when you are able to reduce your diabetes medicine and you're able to function well and your blood sugar levels does come down, then that means that you are on the path to reversal. When you're completely out of the medicine and you're able to sustain it through lifestyle modifications for say 1 to 2 years or more, that means that you have reversed.
Great, brilliant. We'll just quickly now go to the participants. We've got Kangana, if you want to unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hello. I just want to ask 2 questions. One is to do with the plant-based. Do you reckon that we need to cook plant-based or uncooked or both? I mean, which is better or best? And the second one is, you were talking about the fruits. I mean, to have too much fruits, are they bad for the type 2 diabetes?
Okay. So first of all the plant-based food, when you eat it closest to nature, that's when it benefits your body the most. So closest to nature does mean eating raw, but as we know, some food we cannot eat raw. So those food you have to cook it if you want to eat it. Coming back to your next question about fruits, if you're going to eat zero oil and whole food plant-based, then if you eat fruits, you're not going to have any issues with your blood sugar. But if you're eating oil along with the fruits, then you will see a change happening in your blood sugar. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Kangana, for that. We've got Parveen who wants to ask a question. Parveen, if you want to unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes, thank you very much. It was very, very interesting talk.
Thank you.
The fruits you said you should eat with less sugar, which fruits would you recommend to eat?
If you are on a whole food plant-based diet, you can eat any fruit.
Any fruit. Okay, the other one is yogurt is very beneficial. Now, according to your diet,
yeah,
it's excluded, is it? Yogurt?
Absolutely.
Because it's dairy-based.
There are non-dairy based yogurt available in the market. However, yogurt is required only for introducing the healthy bacteria to your gut. Now, when we are eating a lot of chemicals and a lot of processed food, that's when the healthy bacteria in your gut is not able to survive. So when you clean up your diet and eat wholesome, over time, these healthy bacteria start thriving because the prebiotics or the food for the bacteria is the fiber that are in the plant-based food, especially the raw food. So when you eat that more, over time, you will not require the introduction from the outside of these healthy bacteria. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Parveen, for that question. We've got one quick question from Chandrika, and then I think Kirti wants to ask one. Chandrika, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
What can I do to improve for osteoporosis, which I have got, osteopenia as well, to
Mhm.
reverse bone density?
So one of the things that, like I shared, it helped me was to go off dairy completely. Because if you look at it, one small teaspoon of sesame seeds has 10 times the calcium of a big glass of cow's milk. So if we are eating enough of that, we are getting our calcium. But also important is the vitamin D. If we are deficient in vitamin D, chances are that whatever calcium we eat, it's not going to be absorbed by the body. So just ensure that these two you're doing, so especially with the sun exposure, sunbathing, and remove all the dairy and see how it works for you.
Also, no milk, no almond milk or nothing.
We don't require any of those milks. Those almond milks and soy milk and everything is just a substitute till we get rid of the dairy habit.
Oh, okay. All right then.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Janika. Before we go to Nasreen, there's been a question that's been put onto the chat is from Deran, and it is, why is oil and fruits combination not allowed? Can oil be taken at any point with vegetable cooking?
So when you have oil, as has been explained in the video by Dr. Neil Bernard, which I've shared in the PDF, you can all go and look at it. The oil actually gets stored in the muscle cell and stops the insulin from taking the blood sugar inside the glucose inside of the muscle. And we require the blood sugar inside of the muscle. It becomes the fuel for the muscle. So when the insulin is unable to open up the cells and allow the glucose to go in, that's when it remains in the bloodstream. So when there is blood sugar in the bloodstream because of the high oil consumption, and then you're eating fruits, the fructose of the fruit really doesn't require so much of insulin to be absorbed by the muscle cells. But with the already existing blood sugar, then the fructose goes in, then you will see that your blood sugar levels are showing as high. So when you remove the oil, then this mistake is rectified and the sugar in the blood is able to access the muscles. So when you eat fructose requires very less insulin to get into the muscle cells, and you will be able to feel the energy coming back again. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, Dr. Menon. I think that it's very clear for that. One quick question, last question from Nasreen. Nasreen, if you want to mute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah, thank you very much. That was really good talk. I actually just wanted to ask that I reversed my diabetes from diabetic. I went to pre-diabetic 2 years ago. So, but now, and then I was just left on one metformin a day. That's it. But now, after 2 years, it's gone up. It's gone to 6.5, my HbA1c. So how to maintain it? That's the difficult one. You know, how to keep with exercise or food or whatever. I mean, we eat meat, so it's not plant-based. And so what would you say? What would you suggest for that?
So try going whole food plant-based and see whether that rectifies the problem. Right?
Well,
because
but
you tried everything else.
Sorry, there was a gentleman last week who said that he went plant-based and he went back to 9. So, you know, it's become so difficult, really. So, yeah, okay.
So in the PDF, you'll see a lot of data, because when you eat plant-based, it has to be done right. Like I said, if you're still eating fat with the plant-based, you're not going to see the result. It has to be done whole food plant-based, not just plant-based.
Right.
Plant-based can also harm the body if it is not done right.
Right. Okay, then. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And Dr. Menon has supplied a PDF book, which is which we will be able to forward to anyone who would want a copy of it. It's called Holistic Approach to Reversing Lifestyle Diseases. And so if you just want to message us, and we'll forward that book to you. Thank you very much, Dr. Menon. I'll just pass that on to Mr. Vaz now.
Thank you, Dr. Menon. That was excellent. Wonderful presentation. I was distracted slightly, and therefore I don't know whether you covered the issue of intermittent fasting, which is kind of an obsession with mine. I
Yes.
always talk about this. I'm trying. I went to America recently for 10 days, and my whole regime went out of the window. From 7s, I was regularly doing 13s on my Freestyle Libre. It's only just come down because the food is just absolutely full of sugar. What I'd like to ask you is, are you a supporter of intermittent fasting? And what is the minimum time you think it is helpful to have intermittent fasting? I usually do 9 to 9. I mean, if I'm up very late, I was up till 3 yesterday, so I carried on eating peanuts, and then I got up again at 7. So that's a very small period of time. But what is a comfortable time to make a real impact as far as not eating is concerned?
So I feel that intermittent fasting works for the short term, and what you eat during your feeding window is more important than your fasting period. Because when you're fasting, your body, your stomach is completely empty. And if during the feeding window you give it heavy food, that makes it even more difficult for the body to absorb it. Yes, you will see that your blood sugar levels are going down, but it is also creating distress at the abdominal level, at the gastric level. So it is good to do intermittent fasting if you're planning to do it as a lifestyle or lifelong. Then ensure that the food that you're eating within that eating window is clean. And
That's
ideally,
a very good point.
8 hours is an ideal eating window.
Yeah, 8 hours. That's great. So fasting for the rest, but 8 hours. That's very, very helpful.
And when you're fasting, it doesn't mean that you're drinking chai even, and no lemon water, nothing, only water.
Oh, I see. I
That's
carry
true
on
fasting.
drinking liquids. You mean you're not supposed to drink liquids in that period?
No, because you're still providing the body with something to work. So your pancreas is not getting rest.
Okay.
That is the idea of intermittent fasting.
I see. Well, that's very, very useful. I shall stop drinking my tea now after
Right.
8 o'clock, which is what I do, even if I stop eating. Dr. Menon, thank you again. Thank you for your booklet. We've already had people coming on the chat saying, give me the booklet. So Hanif will dispatch them from Leicester. We're very grateful to you. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the program. But if not, we understand it's very late in Mumbai. We hope you have a wonderful evening, sleep well, and we will see you soon.